and we bowled again. And I came in to open the bowling, and I hit the crease as soon as my front foot landed, and I went over. I had a huge shock all around my waist, into my legs, like an electric shock. And my legs felt really weird, like pins and needles. So I kind of walked back to my mark, felt weird. Tried to run in, I couldn't really run in properly. Kind of half bowled, and knew immediately something wasn't right. So my legs, they weren't really working properly. So I had, unfortunately, to leave the field. Physio did a few tests. Went down to do a squat, and I struggled to get back up. So for a little period of time, it was quite severe, and then it kind of came around quite quickly soon after. But I was still having pins and needles and weakness in my legs. And anyway, I went off to London, loads of tests. Kind of, I said the legs kind of came back around a little bit, but had brain scans done, full spinal scans done. They only told me this once I got the all clear, but the doctor thought I might have kind of early stages of multiple sclerosis, because it looked like I had something on my spinal cord. But anyway, all those tests came back negative, and then it was a case of just kind of trying to get back to play cricket, which I did. But in the meantime, my contract was expiring at Essex, and they weren't sure whether they're going to offer me a contract, so I've been injured. And so I started speaking to the county. Sussex signed me, and I spent a full winter with them, got in really good shape. Went on pre-season tour, played the first championship game, everything went really well. Then we played the second game, and then again I came out, bowled the first over after tea, hit the crease, bang, same feeling again. It wasn't quite as bad, but it was definitely the same thing. So that was twice that it happened properly, and because it's to do with your spinal cord and things like that, you have to be very conservative. And yes, and a couple of weeks later, after I'd had all these tests done again and meetings and etc., I sat down in the boardroom at Sussex and went through my options, and kind of retiring was an option, because obviously you're dealing with quite serious stuff. It was clear that it only ever happened when I was bowling a lot of overs. So one of the only real option I ever considered was playing T20 cricket, because obviously you're bowling less, aren't you? So I never considered the retirement, but at 22, it's never nice to hear. I remember having to go back to my flat after hearing it. They said obviously take a day or two, or speak to whoever you need to speak to, then kind of get back to us. So yeah, I went back to my flat that night in Brighton, and yeah, it wasn't the best day of my life. And just anyway, I had to go back to the club, sign waivers to say that the club had presented all the information correctly towards me, and pretty much so I couldn't sue them if the worst happened. And decided just to give T20s a crack, and obviously I'm glad I did, and I haven't looked back since.